in, or downloaded, not filled in. I'm tired today, guys. Okay, here are your slides. And I'm just putting it in present mode. Okay, so Buddhism, we're talking about Buddhism. This is just going over our standard again. It's the same as the Western religion standard. So we're just describing, comparing, and contrasting the historical origins, central beliefs, and spread of major religions, which includes Buddhism. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Buddhism is India's second oldest religion and the world's fourth largest religion. So this is the same map that we went over with Hinduism, so there's nothing different about it. It's just showing you the spread of these different Eastern religions, as well as Islam, because Islam's one of the Western religions that we covered. So we still have the same religions that we saw previously. So Hinduism was it took up the most land in India. And then you have Buddhism, which kind of spreads out from Hinduism. It really starts up in this area over here. It's going to start in northeast India. And so then it spreads from that area. And it spreads more into China and other parts of Asia as well, because Hinduism is already such a widespread religion in India. And like as always, we have Islam on either side, and you have Sikhism and Jainism as well. We briefly talked about those with Hinduism. Oops, sorry. So this is just a map of the major world religions and which countries they kind of dominate in. So this isn't saying it's the only religion in that country. It's just saying it's the most widespread in that country, the most population in that country. So Christianity has much more of a geographic spread. That does not mean necessarily that it's the most population, right? Yes, there are parts of the world that are densely populated, even though they don't have a lot of land. So even though Christianity covers a lot of land, they might not cover as high of a population as you would expect. Islam is actually a huge widespread religion as well, and so geographically and based on population. And then we have Hinduism focused mainly over here in India, Buddhism mostly in Northern Asia and Southeastern Asia. And then of course we have Chinese philosophies, which we'll get into more later. And this is kind of a projection of the population of each religion between now and 2050. So that's much further into the future. I can hear people getting in the meeting, but I can't let them in. So just give me 1 second. It might let go for a second. I'll try to fix it. Okay, we're good. Okay, so that's kind of a map of what that looks like. So what is Buddhism? Buddhism is a religion that was founded 2,500 years ago, and it was founded by Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. So Buddha is Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha Gautama is the Buddha. They're the same person. Buddha is Siddhartha Gautama. He was a Hindu prince. So it was founded by Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, a Hindu prince. It was founded in northeastern India in what is today Nepal. So today it's known as Nepal. And in terms of a deity, they don't believe in a personal God. There's not necessarily one God that they believe in. Their focus, however, is on enlightenment. Enlightenment. So being awakened in a way. Buddhism believes that change is always possible and nothing is fixed or permanent. So, there are many branches of Buddhism, so different groups of Buddhism, including Theravada Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism. And we'll talk more on these later, but there are many other sects of Buddhism as well. Buddhists can worship at home or at a temple. They can worship at home or at a temple. It doesn't really matter which way. And the path to enlightenment is through practicing morality, meditation, and wisdom. Are we good to move on to the next slide?
Yes.
No.
No? Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So the beliefs of Buddhism, and it's how it began, the origin of Buddhism. Buddhism begins with a Hindu prince named Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha's mother, Queen Maya, had a dream when she was pregnant that she was carrying a white elephant with a lotus flower on his trunk in her womb. So she had this vision that she was pregnant with an elephant holding a lotus flower. Does that sound a little odd to you guys? Sounds a little odd to me. So she went and she went to this guy for some guidance about the dream. And so a wise man explained that this meant her son was going to be a holy man. A holy man. To prevent this, the king sheltered Siddhartha from the outside world, not wishing him to be a priest. When Siddhartha turned 16, after getting married and having a child on the way, his father allowed him outside of the palace. So Siddhartha's father did not want him to become a holy man. He wanted him to become the king. And so to prevent him, he sheltered Siddhartha and he just kept him inside the palace all the time. He never let him out. Okay. This one is like, it was funny for the kids that were here. It's just a weird slide, so just bear with me. Buddha's spiritual journey. Once outside of the palace, Siddhartha was confronted by a few things. The first was an old man. Get it? An old man. Do any of you have Mr. Chavez?
I did before I switched on mine.
Yeah. So that's a picture of Mr. Chavez. Mr. Basinger and Mr. Chavez like to make jokes about each other. So they included him in this PowerPoint as an old man. A sick man, just like SpongeBob, right? When SpongeBob gets his flu. I don't remember what it's called.
The suds.
The suds, right. A funeral procession of a dead man. Does anybody know what movie this is from?
Something with Bruce Willis.
Yeah. It's called The Sixth Sense. The little boy can see dead people. So if you've ever seen a thing where people are like, I see dead people, that's because that's what the little boy says to Bruce Willis at one point. And a holy man. Any Harry Potter fans out there?
I can't tell. Is that one Fred or
Yeah.
George?
I am.
That one is George, right? Because George is the one that gets his ear cut off.
Oh, yeah.
And he makes the joke when they're like talking to him and he's like, how do you feel? And he's like, I feel holy. Because he has a hole in his ear. Get it?
Yeah, and it was Fred that died.
Yeah. Sad times. And so these experiences brought him to the reality that all of life is full of suffering. He longed for inner peace. And so seeing all of these, an old man, a sick man, a funeral, and a holy man, he realizes that life is full of suffering, and he had been sheltered from that his whole life. He thought that everybody lived as he did inside the palace, and he didn't realize like there are poor people and people that get sick. So that had to be a tough moment for Siddhartha. And so he realizes that everything is full of suffering in life. Mr. Basinger likes to tell his kids that Siddhartha Buddha is the first emo ever. That he's so emo because he thinks about suffering all the time. No, not funny.
Kind of.
Kind of funny. Okay.
Chavez is older than dinosaurs.
Chavez is older than the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
All right. So, still talking about his journey, Siddhartha left his lavish palace, rich lifestyle, and family behind to find an answer to his questions. He's said to have meditated for 6 years under a Bodhi tree. During that time, his meditation and resisting evil spirits resulted in his enlightenment. He left this place with peace and a deep understanding about life and began teaching the Buddhist Dharma, slightly different from the Hindu Dharma. This is rooted in the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path of Buddhism. So he leaves his palace to become the Buddha. Essentially, he didn't know he was going to become the Buddha, but to, focus on other things and meditate, and he becomes enlightened in the process. Isabel, do you have a question?
Yeah, I can't see the bottom sentence, and I didn't hear you say it.
Okay, it just says it's rooted in the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path of Buddhism. Eightfold Path of Buddhism. Is anyone still working on this slide?
Yes. No.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
Okay. So the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths are this, that suffering and unhappiness are a part of human life and no one can escape sorrow. So everybody has to suffer. See how they're emo now? Like everybody has to suffer. Suffering comes from our desires for material goods. People cause their own misery because they want things they cannot have. So suffering comes because we desire too much. We want too many things. But people can overcome their desires and ignorance to reach nirvana, a state of perfect peace. Reaching nirvana frees a person's soul from suffering and the need for reincarnation. So nirvana is kind of similar to moksha in Hinduism, but it's not the same, but they're similar at least. It's what you reach after reincarnation, like ultimate bliss. And people can overcome ignorance and desire by following an eightfold path that leads to wisdom, enlightenment, and salvation. The eightfold path is more like 8 rules to follow to overcome ignorance and desire. So this is the eightfold path, and we talked about in our What is Buddhism reading about how the symbol is a circle with 8 spokes. So the eightfold path, the 8 rules are the right view, which means to know the truth, the right intention, which means to free your mind of evil, so have good intentions. Right speech means to say nothing that hurts others. To say nothing that hurts others. Right action is to work for the good of others, so being charitable and kind. Right livelihood means to respect life, and that's all life, not just humans, but all life. Right effort means to resist evil. Right concentration means to practice meditation. And right mindfulness means to control your thoughts. So this is a little chart that you can look at about the views of an afterlife according to Hinduism versus Buddhism. So they both believe that reincarnation is based on your dharma or doing your duty. And they believe it's based on your karma, the good or bad actions from your life. But they do not share the system of the caste system. So Hindus believe that reincarnation is based on doing your job according to the caste, whereas Buddhists do not believe in the caste system. So Hindus equals caste, Buddhas equals no caste. They believe that you should strive to be the best you can be and work hard to relieve suffering in the world. And doing this helps you be reborn into a better life. And to reach your full potential, you must have the freedom to choose your work. So it's not just, doing good at what you're told to be doing, but doing good at what you choose to do as well. So what's the difference between Hinduism and Buddhism and reincarnation? I think that's pretty much what the question says on your notes. There's a notes about reincarnation. What's it say? All right. The question on your notes, if you scroll down to the next page, says, based on the chart, what is the difference in how Buddhists and Hindus view Dharma? What's the difference? I just said it. Page? Anybody? Can you guys hear me or?
I can hear you, I just don't understand.
So the difference between these two charts, what's the difference? That one believes in,
A caste system?
yep, one believes in the caste system and one does not. So on the question on your notes that says, based on the chart, what is the difference in how Buddhists and Hindus view Dharma? It's that the Hindus believe it's based on your caste system, and Buddhists do not believe in a caste system. So that's what you should write. Hindus believe it's based on your caste system. Buddhists do not believe in the caste system. Whew. Okay, so now if you scroll down in your notes, scroll down to the last two questions. It says, what does this map show and what do you notice? So we're going to look at this map right here. So we said Buddhism began in Northeast India, so it begins in this area. So this map is showing the spread of Buddhism, right? So what does this map show? It shows the spread of Buddhism. The spread of Buddhism. And then what do you notice about where Buddhism spread compared to where it formed? So you can kind of look at the arrows and see that the arrows going more north formed the Mahayana branch, and the arrows going more south formed the Theravada branch. So the different directions form different branches. And then once you are done with these, you can go ahead and submit them, and then we are done for the day. Paige, do you have a question?
Yes, can you go back to the very first slide?
Yep. Is it this slide? Nope. Not that one. Is it this one that you need?
No, it's the standard.
Okay. This one?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Victoria, do you know how to submit this then?
No.
No? Okay. So on Notability, there's another share button. I think it's in the upper left-hand corner,
Mhm.
like the square with the arrow pointing up. It's at the top somewhere.
Yeah.
Click that, and then you click, does it say Share Note at the bottom of the drop-down menu? Or Other Apps, maybe?
It says other apps.
Click Other Apps. And then when it pulls up the apps, it should have the Student Canvas button for you to pick. Do you see that?
When I click other apps, it shows these. I don't know. It doesn't say that.
It's like the circle, like the red circle, the Canvas logo.
So as soon as I click on other apps, it comes up as format, and then there's just page range, paper, recordings. Do I press share note and then?
Yeah, try hitting Share Note.
Miss Morris.
Hang on one second, Nevaeh. What do you see now, Victoria?
All right, so after I did that, I clicked on the Canvas logo, and then it shows up as I can put comment on there, and then I can press submit. Do I press submit?
Make sure, like, it should give you the option to click, like, Social Studies and Buddhist Notes. Does it say that?
Yeah, it says that.
Okay, then yeah, hit submit. Nevaeh, did you have a question?
Yeah, the last question, like the very last, what do you notice about where Buddhism spread? That one, what's the answer?
So you just say that it started over in Northeast India. So I'm trying to think how to say this shortly. I had it earlier and I forgot. Oh, when it went north, it formed the Mahayana branch, but when it went south, it formed the Theravada branch.
Okay.
Okay, if you're done with the notes, can you go ahead and leave the meeting so I can start my next one, please?
It's not letting me submit them.
That's weird. What's it saying?
It just won't, the submit button isn't lighting up.
You might just need to try like refreshing all your pages like on Canvas and everything and try it again later. If you still have issues with it later, you can message me though. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Does anybody on here have a question, or can I go ahead and close the meeting out?